Okay, welcome everyone. Happy Thanksgiving for those who are celebrating. Today's session isn't just another talk, it's an opportunity to unlock inspiration and gain actionable insights. Think about this. Have you ever wondered what it takes to rise from being a software engineer to leading global teams of 300 plus professionals and spearheading $100 million cloud modernization projects? Or how to transition from the role of a CTO to becoming a transformative executive coach. Our guest today, Art, exemplifies this journey. With over 30 years of experience in technology and leadership, Art has collaborated with industry giants like Microsoft, Capital One, and Elevance Health, FICO, consistently empowering leaders to reach their full potential. But that's not all. This call is not just about art, it's about you. We'll explore critical themes like standing out in the tech leadership, what skills are essential to thrive, balancing expertise with leadership. How do you leverage both to achieve success? Turning challenges into opportunities. How can obstacles become stepping stones for growth? This session is hosted by myself, Ahmed Zayed. I'm an ex-Microsoft and a founder of Future Career. I help more than 700 professionals land roles across the US and Canada. My mission is to create a supportive platform where you can ask questions, network, and gain the tools to excel. This call will also be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, making it lasting resource for the community. So here is the plan. Engage with us, stay on camera if possible, and make the most of this chance to learn and connect. We'll even take a group selfie at the end to have, marketing for this call. I will be sharing a few gifts toward the end. Now let's get started. Art, welcome. We're honored to have you here today. Could you begin sharing a brief overview of your journey and where you went for your path? Let's dive in.
Yeah, glad to. So first of all, thank you, Ahmed, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. And if my journey or anything that I could share today could be of value to people on this call, I would be really happy. So great to be here. So in terms of my journey, as you mentioned, I started as a software developer, as a software engineer. It was a long time ago, over 30 years ago. And for the first 10 years of my career, this is what I did. And I always think about this time in my career, in my life, as one of the happiest times. I loved writing code, I still do. I loved, coming up with innovative solutions and kind of making things happen on my own, right? When I had full control over what I was working on. I slowly started to transition from being a developer to designing and architecting systems. This is when the practice of software architecture just began. And the companies didn't really know what software architect was, what it meant. So I was fortunate to have an opportunity not only to be an architect, but also help create some of the practices and theory around what it means to architect complex solutions. So that was a lot of fun. And so as I progressed through my career, as I was designing and then leading implementations of larger and larger systems, I also started to pick up some management responsibilities. And, if I look at my 30 years in technology, about 20 of them were managing teams. And, I'm happy to talk about that transition. I think it's a very important transition that I struggled with, going from individual contributor to a manager, to people manager. So if I can share any lessons, I'd be happy to do that. But I think the other thing that's interesting about my career is that I try to take on something new on average about every 2 years. It doesn't mean that I moved from one company to another. I actually spent 13 years at Capital One. I spent 10 years at Microsoft. I spent 3 years at FICA. So I had long stays with my employers. But even when I worked in the same company, I always tried to find a way to move to a different role or grow my current role, do something new. And as a result, I think what it really helped me because it gave me an opportunity to do very different things and acquire knowledge and skills about very different domains within the companies that I was part of. It also helped me build my network. I think we probably talk about building networks and how important it is to have strong relationships and things like that. So I, in terms of kind of my career, so what else can I share? I actually tried to stay quite technical, even when I was in the leadership roles and when I had large teams. I always believed in if you're in technology, you can't be just a manager. You have to understand enough about technology. So sometimes in order to kind of force me to do that, I would even become an IC. So I had a few transitions back and forth. IC meaning individual contributor, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's definitely interesting. I guess, maybe some folks here could, take your insights, what contributed to your decision to move from an IC to a manager or vice versa, and why people would think about that transition. If you would like maybe to share a few thoughts from your journey, that would definitely help folks to reflect.
Yeah. Well, so there were a couple of specific instances where when I made this transition. So the first one was I was at Capital One. I was managing a big team of architects, a big portion of the enterprise architecture team, and then Microsoft called, and they were looking for people who really understood their customers. They had a lot of people who knew Microsoft technology, but not a lot of people who knew how to apply Microsoft technology to customer scenarios, and especially when it came to kind of creating strategies and roadmaps for how Microsoft technology can bring value to the organizations. I happen to have this knowledge because that's what I was doing on the other side as a customer. So they wanted to bring me in, but they didn't want to bring me in as a manager. They wanted to bring me in as an advisor. So I would work with CIOs, CTOs of major companies, and I would advise them on how to use Microsoft technology. So so I had a decision to make. Do I kind of hold to my management, role, or do I take this opportunity, become an individual contributor, but would actually expand my horizons, because instead of working with just one company, I would work with dozens of companies. I would join, a great company like Microsoft, and I would also learn a lot about creating strategy and creating vision, creating roadmaps, and become part of that community of advisors. So at the end, it was an easy choice to make. So, and then after doing it for a few years, I became a manager again. So the second instance was when AI just started to get really, really popular, and especially conversational AI, which was, what we were calling Gen AI before ChatGPT and all of that, right? So I happened to be working in that space, and I had an opportunity to actually join an engineering team and become part of a small team that would be right on kind of a top of the spear of innovation around AI at Microsoft. So, but again, it was an IC position. It wasn't a manager position, but the appeal was too strong,
Yes,
to do something
absolutely.
like that. And a couple of years that I spent doing it, I think created so much um, credibility for me in that space that it really helped me in the next stages of my career. So
Awesome. This is inspiring. This is inspiring. Okay, so again, folks, you have the choice to either let me keep asking questions, or you can also, share what, questions, thing that you want to ask Art. This is a great chance for you to learn, insights from a leader who really led 300 plus teams, and also uh, lots of big projects and modernization. So I'll dive into my questions until folks maybe warm up here. So, what was the defining moment that sparked your journey from a software engineer to leading global teams of 300 plus? Maybe that's my first question for you, Art.
yeah, I don't know if there was one defining moment, but I think there was a series of moments that led there. I think the first one was really the moment that uh, pushed me to understand that there was more to my work than just technology. And that was the moment when for the first time, I had an opportunity to lead um, a new innovative project, and not only did I lead the technology part of it, but I actually came up with a business idea. There is a story around that, but um, so and the idea kind of took hold, and I got a lot of support from the leadership, and we built this um, application for one of the business units at Capital One, and we ended up winning a major award. And I think the pivotal moment there, the aha for me was, when I realized that it's not all about just bits and bytes and how good of an engineer you are, but if you could actually understand the why, the business reason, the value that whatever you're developing is bringing to the users or to the customers or to whoever, um, you become just so much more impactful and frankly so much more valuable for the company, for your leadership, for everybody, right, and for your team. So I think that was one pivotal moment. I think the second pivotal moment was when I went through the uh, master's program. I got a degree in management of information technology from UVA. It was an executive program, so I didn't go to school. I actually did it while I was working, and just learned so much about all those other areas that I had no idea, what they were: marketing and finance and strategy development and sales, and and I still use this knowledge. I still use those tools that I learned, like SWOT analysis and things like that. So that was definitely a pivotal moment. I'm not saying that everybody should go to grad school, but um, I think learning more about things that surround technology, that make technology valuable to people, is definitely something that I believe everybody should do if you want to move up in your career.
Absolutely.
So I think those were the few pivotal moments. I think the decision that I talked about, leaving Capital One and getting into that advisory consulting role where I had an opportunity to interact with so many different companies around the world. Like I talked about expanding my horizons from the perspective of understanding not just technology, but what technology exists for. That other decision was pivotal for me to understand that there are so many different companies, there are so many different cultures, there are so many different use cases that, I think many people who only work in one company or only deal with one type of use case don't get an opportunity to have that exposure. And for me at least, that was really, really important.
100%. And again, as you mentioned, definitely this is inspiring, but as well, it comes with some stress and some challenges and some other, let's say, outside of your comfort zone and areas where you had to, navigate. And can you tell us about, how do you really manage those, again, transformation, again, moving from a banking system where it's all organized, red tape, and mostly very structured to innovative organization like Microsoft, and where you're doing new things and you're impacting millions of people across the world, and taking decisions that could either make the stocks go up or maybe make the stocks go down, and that's definitely adding a lot of stress, and you definitely need to manage politics and manage people and manage expectations. Can you give us some insights about how did you prepare yourself for that transition, and what skills did you need to maybe develop on your side, and maybe some insights about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love that theme of change because I think change is what you need to learn how to deal with. Like managing change for yourself, managing change for your team, managing change for the organization. If you develop the skills around that, you will be very successful because the applications of those types of skills are limitless. And I would say that the starting point when you're dealing with any new environment is just trying to learn as much as possible, trying to stay in this curious mode. That's really, really important. I've seen so many people who go into the new environment, and I've done this myself. I remember the first consulting engagement that I had at Microsoft when they sent me to another bank, and I went there and I kept talking about how great Capital One was, and and that did not go well, right? Because I'm sure I came across so arrogant and just that fixed mindset. I've learned from it, and I think the main thing that I've learned is that when you get into the new environment, before you start offering your opinions, before you start, telling everybody that better, you really have to understand the environment, understand people, understand their priorities, understand their objectives. And yes, of course, they hired you because you have something to bring to the table. You have experience, you have skills, but it's so dangerous to assume that what worked for you somewhere else is going to work in this new environment, right? And again, I saw so many people make that mistake and like burn bridges and just be very unsuccessful, right? So I think that's the first thing, is just to make sure that you listen, you ask questions, you understand before you start making recommendations, before you start like setting your own vision and strategy and things like that. Then the second thing is you always need to have you need to surround yourself with people that you trust and people that you have confidence in, and also people that trust in you. So you can't do anything alone in large organizations, right? And building that type of network as quickly as you can is super important, right? Again, interestingly enough, if you come in without preconceived notions, if you ask a lot of questions, if you show interest, that's how you win trust and confidence of other people, because they see you as somebody who's collaborative, who wants to work with them, and not somebody who, is a know-it-all and all of that. So I'm sure I can talk a long time about other things, but those are just some of the things that come to mind. I see that somebody has the hand up.
Yeah, Dawood, please unmute and go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmed, for giving me opportunity to.
You're welcome.
Yes, this is your skill, experience, and your journey. I really admire, and you have a great experience. I have some. I want to get some advice from you. So I have a PhD in physics from South Korea, and in 2018 I immigrated to United States, and unfortunately I could not get a full-time position in physics. And then I made a pivot into IT, and I work with different companies, three companies actually. So in their production support, and where I got opportunity to work some part as a data analyst, right? Working with the cloud with very limited, you can say, opportunity. So I just want to get advice from you that right now I was laid off and I'm looking for a new role. And what can be the possible and ideal role, or on which side I should focus?
I'm sorry, I lost you at the end. On which what you should focus?
Yes, which area of the IT I should focus, and what you recommend me?
And when you say area of IT, what?
In IT, in IT, in
I'm sorry?
information, in IT.
You're talking about like what type of role in IT?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. I'm sure Ahmed probably has more to say about that than I do, because he's got a lot more exposure to what's in demand right now.
Yeah, yeah, I can help you with that, Dawood. If you would like, I'll share, my free discovery call. We can sit together and maybe go through your journey, because again, I guess we need to know a little bit of context of what you really, aspire to, or what are your strengths, in order to help guide you. I guess this may not be an easy question to answer in a short call like this one. But again, I'll share my link, and you can again book a free discovery call with me by the end of this call.
Yeah. No, thank you, Ahmed. And I don't mean to dodge your question here, but it is a loaded question, and it's not a simple answer. I don't think I can say, go do this and you'll be successful. It's very personal, right? It's where you can demonstrate the biggest kind of correlation between what you've done before and what this role requires, right? It's like anything. I mean, I often talk to people about how do I get into the new role, or I'm a individual contributor. I want to become a manager. Well, who would hire me as a manager? Because I've never been a manager, right? So, in fact, I just had this conversation today with somebody, and it's all about how much of your experience is transferable to that new role. Can you tell the story? Can you show people that whatever you were doing successfully and had great results in your current role or past role is the same type of has the same type of skills, has the same type of capabilities that would help you in the new role. So it's about finding that that alignment and being able to sort of tell the story. And it's not just the story. When you get into this new role, it's not just about getting hired. It's actually, you need to be successful. You need to build your success on top of something that you've done in the past and have been successful in the past, right? So that's where I'm sure Ahmed can help you figure those types of things out. So thanks for your question.
Thanks, David. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, cool. So again, I took some notes from what you mentioned, Art, and I have maybe some follow-up questions about, again, the area where you said, again, transitioning to, leadership role and those kind of statements about listening skills and leadership style. So again, when you move up in the ladder, you have a lot to do, and time management become key. So for me, for example, as a project manager, managing multiple programs and multiple projects, I had to, be very wise in my, time management. Otherwise, I'll not be able to deliver those projects. So can you share with us what it's like to be a VP and CTO, and what's in your plate, in a very, again, high level view, because again, we've never been in that level. We may just want to see that lens through you and see how do you manage, those competing priorities sometimes, everybody's pushing you left and right, for a piece here and there. Can you tell us a little bit about that piece specifically, and how do you manage that kind of stress?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And personally, I think that every role in IT is very stressful. So I have a lot of respect for, people that deal with customer escalations or operational, like, production issues, and have to stay at night until stay 24 hours up until the problem is resolved. I mean, that's a lot of stress. And or software engineers who are under pressure with the deadline. They need to finish the release, and they have all those bugs that need to be need to troubleshoot and fix and all that. And so I think every role has its own stress. And you bring up a great point about time management. As a coach, I work with a lot of people. In fact, this is typically where we start, right? Because if you can't set the right priorities and manage your time effectively, you won't be able to achieve any kind of result. You won't be able to advance in your career or anything like that. So what is it like, the role of the leader with a large organization, a large responsibility? I think the biggest change is, if you want to do this role well, that the biggest change that the leader needs to make is the amount of time they would spend on strategy and thinking ahead versus the time that they spend on managing day-to-day operations. And I talk to a lot of people about transitioning from sort of middle management to executive roles, and this is the biggest differentiator, and this is what if somebody is hiring for this type of executive role, they're looking for that. They're looking for somebody who is not just going to be fighting fires 16 hours a day. They're going to look for somebody who, yes, can get the present under control, kind of all the operational stuff under control, but also somebody who can think ahead, who can set the vision, set the strategy, think about how to drive that change through the organization, how to build a team, and all of that. So, and it's a challenge because, as you said, everybody's got demands on your time. So people are coming to you with those tactical questions, right? Starting from people want budget for this, for that. Hiring decisions need to be approved, and releases need to be approved, and all of that. So, so the first challenge is how to make sure that you can do all of that and help your team stay the course while also having enough time to focus on your vision and plans and where you want to take the organization. So, and there are different ways that you can do that. You can set those types of boundaries between the present and the future work that you do. So does that make sense?
No, that's very spot on. Thanks so much for sharing. And again, definitely, everybody has a different leadership style, and not all leaders are the same. And that's why, again, everybody bring their own, let's say, taste of leadership to their teams. And definitely, that's very insightful. So again, maybe my follow-up question here is, as a leader for 300 plus, teams and managers and different departments, how do you communicate effectively through your leadership command, maybe, so that everybody stay, on your goal? Again, you definitely have a goal or an objective to achieve from a leadership perspective, and your team sometimes could deviate from that goal, right or left, depending on how the message come through. So maybe can you share an insight of how do you manage that kind of communication top down, and make sure everybody's really working on the goal that you set for the organization?
Yeah, happy to. But I actually want to use this opportunity, since you mentioned communication, to also talk about the importance of communication as a skill for
100%.
technical professionals, for technology leaders, because this is something that I had to learn the hard way myself. I'm not a great communicator naturally. On top of the fact that English is not my first language, right? So I learned English when I was in my 20s, and I'll never get rid of my accent and all of that. So, but I see this as a theme with so many technology professionals where they're not able to communicate effectively. And I'm not even talking about delivering messages to 300 plus people. I'm talking about like one-on-one conversation, communicating
Yes.
what you're trying to say. Like during the interview, how do you get your point across? How do you keep the interviewer engaged? How can you be succinct and get to the point quickly? So if there is one skill that I would encourage everybody to focus on, that's communication. Of course, like you need to know your stuff, right? You need to know how, if you developer, you need to know how to write code, how to, do how to test, how to deploy, and do all those things. If you're project manager, you need to be able to manage projects, but everybody needs to be able to communicate well. Yes. And it starts with writing emails, managing one-on-one conversations with your manager, with your teammates. If you have an opportunity to present in front of the audience, being able to do that effectively. I'm not great at that myself. Every time I have to present to a big audience, I get nervous. I have to have my notes. I have to prepare. But I've learned some techniques that makes me that help me in overcome those challenges. So, but anyway, so just again, like we can dig into that more, but I just can't emphasize how important it is to be conscious and intentional about your communication, right? And it always starts with, what am I trying to accomplish here? And who is my audience? And it doesn't matter. It could be one person. Again, in the interview, it could be 300 people. What do they want to hear about? What is going to resonate with them? If I'm, talking to 300 engineers, I'm going to be, spending time, I don't know, reminiscing about stock performance. I mean, some of them may be interested in that, but most of them are just going to zone out, right? And so how do you communicate in a way that people get value out of this, right? So that's, to me, I think, like when I started to really learn the art of communication, it all started with just understanding, why am I saying things? What's the value to the other person? I'm not saying those things because I need to say them. I'm saying them because I need somebody to hear them, and they need to internalize those things. So kind of making that connection with the audience is really important, right? And it doesn't come by accident. You need to think about that, right? So know your audience. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's so true, right? So
spot on.
I see somebody has Brian.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, Art. Do you have any good books you could recommend on communication?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have to think about it. It's been a while since I've read specifically books around communication. I mean, to be honest with you, most of the things that I learned about communication, I learned from people that I work with. But let me take this as a to-do, and maybe we can share some resources afterwards.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks, Brian. Cool. Awesome. So again, diving in more, Art, and I guess this is something that most folks here could be curious to learn about. How leaders, your level, hire, fire, or grow their team. This is something again that definitely can help them build their own muscles or skills that are needed to grow in companies like in Microsoft, Capital One, FICO, and others. Again, definitely you've seen different types of organizations, and some organizations hire fast or fire fast, and some others are more conservative. So, tell us about your, let's say, insights about, how do people think, like individual contributors to grow in companies so that they become appealing to leaders to your level.
Yeah, so it's a good question. There are a couple of different dimensions that I'm thinking about. So let's start with hiring decisions, and I'll just talk about myself. Everybody's got different perspectives. This is how I've always thought about this. So first of all, when I always thought about hiring somebody, I would consider the description of the role, kind of the need that I'm filling in. But it wasn't just about those kind of, it's not a checklist. It's not like you need to meet those criteria. And the reason for that, I mentioned like maybe half an hour ago. Things change, right? You can't hire somebody expecting that this is the only role that they will ever going to do, and the role is going to be described exactly how this this job description is written. So one of the biggest things for me has always been, is the person I'm hiring, do they have a potential to grow? Have they demonstrated an ability to be agile, to change, because things will change. So I would often ask questions about that on at the interview. How do they learn new things? Because how many times, I mean, we've all been in industry for a while, so how many times did we have to learn new programming language, new platform, right? New technologies. So so that ability to learn to me is very much at the top, right? The second thing for me has always been that communication, how a person thinks, the clarity of how they think, whether they can kind of surprise me in a way that they approach problems. So, because again, you know, when I would hire somebody, I don't want to be their babysitter. I want to kind of unleash them on the complex challenges, and I want them to find innovative solutions. And of course, I'm there to support them. But that ability to work on their own and sort of problem solve, that's the second thing that always been very important to me. And the third thing is, you know, when we hire, we always think about not just individual hire, but the team. So somebody coming in needs to not only fit in, but they also need to bring something different within the team. So if I already have a team full of analysts who are deep thinkers and detail-oriented, what value is it for me to bring another very similar profile? I would actually rather bring somebody who's going to challenge that kind of data-driven thinking and maybe be more intuitive and be devil's advocate. So I want to have this type of diversity in the team. So, and the reason I'm talking about this is because people often kind of get upset about hiring decisions, right? Like, why didn't I get hired? I have all the you know, credentials and everything. But there is just so much more to that decision to bring somebody on board than simply their experience or their skills. And good leaders would consider a lot of that. Now, it's not only a hurdle, but it's also an opportunity. So when you interview, kind of showing your individuality is very important, right? Again, it goes back to that communication skills and all that. But you know, what do you bring to the table that's unique, that is going to make you valuable to to the team, make you valuable to this organization beyond just your technical skills and what you can do as a developer or tester or project manager. So does that make sense?
No, definitely makes sense. You mentioned, very crucial skills, problem solving, communication, and also, diversity and also challenging the normal. That's definitely something that needs more confidence, something that, people become like more leaders, even if they are still individual contributors, they have the spirit of, challenging the norm, which is not easy. Some people get scared when they try to disrupt, uh, uh, a team which is really already organized and they're already doing lots of things for years. That's hard to break in sometimes. But no, definitely those are very good insights. So what I heard from you as well, that communication skills sometimes is more effective and important to be hired than technical skills. And this is confirms my understanding again that some people are very good in doing technical skills, but they are not good in communicating, which can be, a fatal or, a tough area to develop while they're working. So do you want to maybe confirm this?
Yeah, it's very true. It's communication, but it's also ability to learn and ability to acquire new skills and new knowledge, and how quickly you can do that. Because you can hire a top expert, and they're going to produce great code or solution. But if that's the only thing that they can do, the shelf life is going to be very, very limited, right? Unless you're hiring them for a specific purpose, there is, like you just need to maintain this particular application forever, right, until you decommission it or something. But it's much harder to take, actually almost impossible to take an expert, technical expert, and but if they are toxic to the organization, or if they can't communicate, or if they can't collaborate with others, it's much harder to actually coach or mentor them to change that, versus if you have somebody who is a learner, who is a great collaborator, who communicates well, who thinks, problem solves. Having somebody like that pick up a new technology is not, it's not a big deal, right? Especially if they've done it before. I had people at Microsoft on my team when I was running an innovation group. We would deal with new technology all the time. So I hired somebody, and we needed a blockchain expert. So they never done blockchain, right? So it took them about a month, and like after that, they were going around the world and giving talks about blockchain, right? So of course, they had other experience to base on, but that person was a great communicator and a great learner, and I knew that this is exactly what would happen. So
Inspiring. Blockchain. I never, learned about blockchain, but maybe that's an area that I need to develop now that you're saying. So I guess, time is running real quick with you. Again, we're very excited about, the insight that you're giving us. I think the question that most people may ask you now, and again, the question of the hour, let's say, is, how do we manage you know, our job or stay in the job in a very disruptive world today with AI and layoffs and those kind of disruptions. What do you suggest or what do you recommend for people who are either looking for job or want to stay in their job? I know that people who are even staying in their jobs today have those fears. They are afraid that every day, next day, the company will say, "Oh, you're gone," and you're just a number, and that happened all the day, every day now. So what do you think is the most important skill for people to develop or stay focused on in order to stay relevant and understand how the market is shifting and move to a role that can continue to grow? I know that's a loaded question, but maybe just a quick insight would be nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so again, this is just my opinion, so may not work for others, but I think yes, of course, everybody has those fears, right? Am I going to get fired? Is my position going to be eliminated? Am I going to be without a job and all of that? Those fears can be paralyzing, right? They can bring people down and make them nervous, make them, frustrated, make them want to work harder, right? Like if I just work 24 hours a day, then I can, I'll be okay. That's not going to happen, right? I think the main thing is turning those fears into actionable plans is what's important. So yes, there is a risk. Everybody, may have that. I mean, it happened to me a few times in my career. So are you going to be ready if that happens? Do you have a good understanding of your unique value proposition? Do you have skills that are marketable right now? Do you understand what the trends are, right? Everybody's talking about AI, right? So do you have any experience that could be appealing to companies looking for that type of skill, right? So if you invest in yourself, in at least kind of doing those types of assessments and thinking about how you could keep yourself marketable, you will be further than most people, number one. Number two, you are not going to get a job most likely by applying to thousands of positions. We know that everybody's talking about that, right? So investing in your network, thinking about who are the people that you know at your current company, at your past company, that if the situation arises, that you can go to for advice, ask for help, ask for connections. Unfortunately, people only remember about those network contacts when they need them, right? That's a big mistake. By the way, we're in a holiday season. It's a great time to reach out to your old, coworkers, your old boss, and just say, "Hey, been thinking about you. Happy Thanksgiving, or Happy New Year, or Merry Christmas," right? So people appreciate that. So that's the second thing. If you feel like you have a good network, if you feel like you have people who could help you, if there is a need, that's going to be huge. Finally, just yeah, I mean, I think if you kind of doing that, then you will be ready, right? As far as your current role, again, there are no guarantees in anything, but the more you focused on delivering real value and you understand that connection between what you're doing to how this company is making money, how your team, how your leader is being successful, the better chance you have that to continue being there and being employed, right? So I talked about it in the beginning, right? So I had this epiphany: there is more to technology than just writing code. You need to understand the big picture, right? So the more you can align yourself to things that are really important, really critical, the more chance you have that you're not going to be that person on a chopping block, right? So yeah, I mean, there is a there are other things I'm sure we can talk about. It's all very individual, situation based, and I'm sure like you're listening to me and you're thinking, well, that's not going to work for me because I'm working on this legacy, application, and there is nothing AI in there. So what do I do? How do I build my marketable skills? There are ways to do that, and I'm sure Ahmed, you talk to people that you work with about how to be prepared, how to make yourself marketable. So yeah, there are ways to do that. So the main thing is take your fear, take all this negative energy, turn it into the positive energy. Put it into the plan that is going to make you successful. Whatever you're going to do next.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, Art. This is definitely very inspiring, and I wish we had, more time to continue this exciting and inspiring discussion. I know your time is valuable too, and I hope the audience as well is getting insights and reflecting on themselves from what you're sharing about your story. Maybe just a final thought. And just before we take the group selfie, so everybody can be ready if they want to join this and be in camera. I know you took very bold decisions in your career, and that was really not easy. Like you transitioned, from big organization like Capital One to Microsoft to FICO, and then to coaching. So how do you transition, or how do you really take that decision? Like it's definitely took from you a bit of time and thinking, and sometimes again those bold decisions, sometimes we do self-doubt. Again, I'm speaking about myself. Sometimes when I do those bold decisions, oh my God, why did I do that to myself? Maybe I should go back and do something what I used to do before. But again, it's exciting. Definitely it's a journey, and with new challenges comes new opportunities, and that's what I like about what I'm doing today as well. So do you want to maybe share maybe a few seconds here about this before we take the selfie?
Yeah, it's interesting because naturally I'm not a risk taker. Like when it comes to my investment portfolio, I'm not. It's not very. I'm very risk averse. For some reason, when it comes to my career, I've always taken risks. I don't know what it is, and it paid off. So I think the main thing there is just you look back at what you've done and you think you've had some big wins. You've accomplished a lot. I mean, everyone on this call has, right? If you think that you haven't, you just didn't look close enough, right? And this is where a coach can help you, kind of think about some of those things. So whatever you're going to get into new is not really going to be that different, because you're going to bring that whatever made you successful before with you, right? And as long as you have that mindset and that confidence, then you're going to be successful. So of course, I'm not saying like take reckless decisions. Every decision that I took career-wise, while there was a lot of risk, but I knew why I was doing it. There was a reward, on the other side that I was looking for, and I was very committed to this. But I think self-doubt is something that all of us have. This imposter syndrome and all of that. So what helps me is just looking back and thinking about all those past achievements, and they give me confidence that I can do it again, and I can do it again. Like what I'm doing now is I'm basically starting from scratch again. and it's a little scary, but I've done it before, and I'm confident that I will be successful. So
Absolutely, Art. Again, this is amazing. I've really enjoyed this discussion, and I hope, the audience did the same here. So it's time for the selfie. Again, we do this to, market the call, and I have another call tomorrow if you want to join me. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. But again, if you guys are okay to come to camera and be a celebrity for this call tonight, with Art, and then we'll post it on LinkedIn, and you guys could get more visibility on a leadership side from Art's network too. That's definitely gonna help you. So let me just make this view gallery mode so that we all be in camera. So I'll give it a few seconds more if anyone wants to join. Again, whoever wants to join this, that's definitely a great chance to join this call and become a celebrity. Okay, so when you're ready, I'll say 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much, Art. This has been amazing. I really enjoyed it myself. I learned a lot today, and I guess most folks who listened enjoyed it too, and they learned a lot. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
No, just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate everybody joining. I know if you're in the US, it's a holiday week, so I really respect your commitment to learn and being here in the evening. So, and if you're not in the US, I'm sure you all had busy days, so appreciate you being here and appreciate this opportunity. So.
Likewise, Art, and if if you're open, maybe we can do this again after the holidays. We definitely would like to learn more. I know that you have a ton of wisdom that you can share, but again, I know that you're busy too. So let's see. After the holidays, maybe January comes, we can ask you to come back here.
Yeah, happy to do that. And look, I'm happy to help if anybody wants to have more in-depth conversation about anything that we talked about. Sure, you can talk to Ahmed about this as well, and Ahmed can get connected with me if needed. So, but I whatever I can do to help, I'm glad to do that.
Thanks so much, Art, and thanks everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and enjoy the holidays. Sorry,
Thank you.
Thanks, Dawood. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Enjoy the day, and this call will be uploaded to YouTube very soon. Have a great
Bye-bye.
night. Take care. Bye.